My name is Dessa Edyth Blair. I was only at Swift for 1 year, and that was 1947-48. My sister was already here, and she had done 3 years of high school and was a freshman college. I was working at Oak Ridge at the time, 2 years at Oak Ridge, and she caught up with me. So then I came up here to be with her as a freshman college. And I only came here 1 year as a freshman, did not stay on campus. I stayed with a family out in the city 1 year. Then I went to Morristown and finished junior college. Not that much, other than a little football, I think. I think they played against each other. And see, I hate football. If it's left up to me, I'd outlaw it. Because it looks like somebody's going to get killed every minute. Don't talk to me about football.
All right.
I was born in Hancock County. My family and my grandfather's family were the only two families in the white community. My dad was a blacksmith and any other kind of smith you want to know. And he was a bigger asset as one person to the whole community than anybody else because he was so skilled and can do so many different things. He taught me grades 1 through 3 at home. There was no school for black children. The bus passed right by the footlog, but we had to walk to school. So as far as Swift is concerned, I was only here 1 year. But every one of my elementary teachers over there in the hills were trained here at Swift. Now that's why I'm in love with it. And they had excellent teachers, gave you the good background information. And when you came out of elementary school from Appalachia, one of those teachers, I had 4, and I still remember all 4 of them. I have a lot of names. I've forgotten a lot of names of teachers I worked with, but I have not forgotten the names of those teachers that taught me. Jaquetta Sensabaugh, and there was Graham Carr, Molly Ruth Payne, all 4. 4 of them came from here. And see, I've had a chance to be with teachers at Knoxville College when I was there. Had a chance to be with teachers because I got my master's at UT. These teachers at Swift can't be beat, couldn't be beat nowhere. I know what I'm talking about for fundamentals. I knew from my dad. My dad was an old-fashioned and he went to the 8th grade. And that man's spelling book, he called it the blue back speller. Some of the words in that blue back speller, grades 1 through 8, I can't not pronounce or announce or whatever you want to say, enunciate. Now that's the kind of education I got. Foundation, if that's what you want to know. Well, they was down to earth and they were so serious about children learning. Of course, you had respect, and if you could learn, you would learn. And wasn't not a wasted time and whatnot. They used their time wisely and had respect for students. And they also taught you manners and how to act and a lot of other things about life. Because I wrote a poem about it before I left here. I can't remember it, but I have it at home. It's been a long time. I was 90 years old February 7th. Can't remember back that far now. She's not quite as academic as I am. And I say that because she didn't study as hard as I did. I've always been very serious. I was the oldest child, and I've always been serious about school. And I love my teachers from Rogersville so much. I wanted to be a teacher ever since I can remember. I wanted to be an elementary teacher. But I wouldn't want to be one now, because I'd be down there behind bars. I don't know about Swift. See, I was teaching when I don't know that much about desegregation of Swift per se. When desegregation took place, I was teaching in Knoxville. And I was sent to the most prejudiced principal that they had in Knoxville. And I didn't know that till 2 years ago, the guy that was Fred Bedell, Dr. Fred Bedell, who I thought had passed, called me, and he's writing a book on the desegregation of the schools in Knoxville. And he told me, he handpicked me and sent me to Smithwood. He told me, and I was about to hurt him. No, I didn't. I brought the man into the 20th century because I didn't know any better. I remember something about it when it was being torn down, yes.
Did you have any?
Well, times change, and it was changing out everywhere out there in the world, in the other world also, so you can't get hung up with all these changes. All you got to do is sit tight and listen, learn all you can, and do all you can, and say all you can, but be right, and cope with it. That's the way I do life. That it should be reverend, like we're trying to do right now. Needs reverence, because it was a good foundation. And I say all the time, we haven't done half enough for the Presbyterian Church, who set up these schools for black children and black folk. And that's the same, I say the same thing about Rogersville, I say the same thing about Knoxville College. We haven't paid enough homage to the Presbyterian Church for what they've done for our race of people.
Do you remember what your average day was like at Swift when you were going here?
Work. Didn't have time to play much. Not really, because I live very close. Didn't take long to walk over here. About 2 or 3 blocks over. I was staying with a lady when I was here. Now, my sister was staying on campus. I just used what I had, and it worked. And I used what my daddy gave me, what I was born with, and what I was taught. I was Miss KC when I was here. Well, I had to get up, didn't have to walk far, and come over here, and we'd have assignments, and there wasn't no such thing as not coming back with your assignments. Whatever they were, you did them. You didn't ask questions about them. You did your assignments and brought them back the best you could. But that I was born like that, doing the best that I can do. I'm still like that. I'm a perfectionist to an extent. Not that I am perfected, but I work toward it. I still do. As an old lady, I still do it. That's part of me. Now, you can ask somebody else that didn't have it, and maybe they acquired it, but I've always had it. Well, now, I didn't give that an awful lot of thought, because in those kind of days, you had no other choice. You had no other choice. If you had assignment, you had work to do, then you did it. If didn't, you get consequences or get sent home, whatever it took. It's not like it is now. I'm an old lady, and I still do the best I can do in anything I do. I don't care what it is, how simple it is. Do the best job you can do. If I write you a letter, I want it to be written correctly, written pretty, with no mistakes. Now, that's just part of me. So you're going to have to ask somebody else them questions. I'm just so thankful that Swift was available, that the Presbyterian Church provided schools that poor people could afford. My dad, at the time I got here, they were charging then a little bit tuition because I'm out of the county. This is Hawkins, isn't it? And I'm from Hancock, the poorest county in the 96. And everybody else that went before me, they had to pay tuition. But when they came to my daddy, if I have to pay tuition, then my county's going to pay it. And they did. That's the first time the county started paying tuition. My dad met the county courts. And while we're talking about that, we were living in an all-white neighborhood. And his kids had nowhere to go to school. And the black kids in Claiborne County lived just across the line from the Hancock boundary. And they went to Claiborne County School. And we had nowhere to go. And my dad met the courts. He was a veteran of World War I. He told them what he had done for the country and what he deserved. And they built him a school next to the county line, almost on the Claiborne line. Because at that time, we had about 6 families in Hancock County that were going across the line to Claiborne. And that's how we got a brand new school. Only my dad is the only one that got that done, or tried to get it done, because they weren't interesting, because we was isolated up here in the white community. Hoop, H-O-O-P, Hoop Creek Church. It was a church and schoolhouse together. And somebody donated that church building to the school at that time. And then they got unhappy about it because they began to sell and whatnot, and you had some of those religious deacons and things don't believe in selling in the church house. So then the school was moved up in the center of the black neighborhood at Hoop Creek. But that was before I went to school. I went to school as a third grader at Hoop Creek. And I stayed with my Aunt Pearlie, whose mama's sister walked 1.5 miles to Claiborne County, Hoop Creek School in Claiborne County for the first 3 years, I guess. 2 or 3. No, about a couple of years. But then my dad had a school. They built a brand new school at the end of, right at the end of Hancock County there. And we were Parkeys, and the Parkeys had a real large area of land and whatnot. And they donated the land as long as we had school, for us to have a school almost on the Claiborne line, because we had those 5 or 6 families who were on the border who also could come to that school. But we up here with the white folk walking, bus passed right by the door, and we had to walk over a mile, I guess. I don't know. But we were young then. I know where Blackwater is because I had an aunt that lived up there in Blackwater, married John Livingston. I had no pressure because I was, if I want to be frank about it, I was the better student. So no pressure. Now you might ask her if she felt some pressure. I had a nephew whose wife died when the baby was 9 years old. They had 4 children. That's in Knoxville, and Lord, with cancer, breast cancer. Lord have mercy. And I went over there every week and worked with his children, taught them little fellas to read and write, and they's all over my neck, my lap, and everywhere, little bitty things. And started out with them. I went every week, once a week. And the first 3 was fine and got them started well. And the baby was about 3 years behind the other one. He said, "Mother, when is Aunt Dess coming over here to read to me?" Well, I thought those little big ones, that I taught them how to read, then he could teach them to read. So I had to go over and work with him. So what I'm saying, I love school, I love learning, and I got 3 engineers and a nurse out of those 4 kids. 3 graduated from UT, engineers, and the other one is a nurse out of his 4 children. Best kids you've ever seen.
And that's the importance of that foundation.
Foundation that I had that I could give them. Plus moral, good ethics, work ethics, any other kind of ethics you want to talk about. We got them at home, taught at home, examples at home. So that's the way it is.
Yeah.